Oh, hey. My name's Dennis, and this is my channel that you've tuned into. Of course, you know that. My kids say I need to change the format of this and quit doing asinine questions like, oh, welcome to my channel. Well, I should welcome you to my channel. Anyway. Okay, this seems to be... my rifle I'm working on right now, the port right now is... It loads around and fires, kicks back but a little bit, but it doesn't seem to go back all the way, or if it does, it's not bringing forward another round for the chamber. In fact, I think it's ejecting the old casing. That's true, but it's not bringing in a new one. I don't know what that problem is. Anyway, I'll work on that. Today's subject, by the way, is supposed to be about my workshop. Behind me, as you can see, this is my room, and inside the house, and this is where I bench work with equipment. You know, put the pistols together, the rifles together, after they've been finished and everything else. What do I use? One person asked. Well, let's go outside and let me show you. Okay. Well, this here is the blasting cabinet that I use to sandblast items. It's from Harbor Freight. It's kind of a not a very expensive one, but it does have a down here underneath I guess a funnel type shape feeding chute that I can drain off the excess amount of work shed, and immediately you're faced with all kinds of stuff in here. It's quite full. Let me turn the lights on here for you. There you go. That's my compressor there. It's a silent one. In other words, the decibels are really low compared to the to the standard one. Of course, I have the HVAC for vacuuming. This here is the CNC machine, computer controller. Okay, to get this thing going, the CNC mill, first thing you have to do is you have to turn on the external devices, which are those you can see them there, the NEMA motors. There's right now there's three that is attached to this, and then I have the fourth one. It's right there, and that fourth one is for a fourth axis that's going to happen here. And once I start this up, it should come up online. As it's doing that, I wanted to point out that this is a Grizzly. Okay, it's a nice little model, 6889, and it has a 3/4 inch or 3/4 horsepower. But I took it out. Off the regular way of mounting it, and I put this pulley assembly in. Now this pulley right here did not quite fit correctly, so I had to use the lathe to work out the center and make it this where it would fit flush, plus also it would fit all the way down, allowing the set screw in there to tighten and hold it. Of course, here's the Z-axis and the NEMA motor, and it's pulls this gantry up and down, and the gantry is also offset by this gas pulley. Now I haven't put a RPM gauge on this yet, and I'm going to be doing that, and also finishing up with the fourth axis. But once it's all up and running, then I'll have a fourth axis, and it'll be RPMs will be controlled by the computer, and this will be a fully functional four axis variable speed mill. Right now I use it for many things. This is just a magnetic little block there that keeps it protected. But as you can see here, this little jewel here, made that and made one for larger work and even larger work. So I got 2 sets of large works there. And the reason why I have that is because they sit on this table, and I bolt these to the table and do my work. As you can see, I just got this sitting there, but I put that on there, and that way I can set this mill up and put the finder on there, and what it does, it locates where the edge of the material is, and actually it will seek and find the height, the beginning of one side and the other side, and that way the program, the CNC, which is a Linux CNC program, not Mach 3 but Linux CNC, will see where it is and be able to process and actually do the milling work for me. I have several vices for it. This one here is a machinist vise. It's mounted to it right now, and then I have, of course, a regular vise, and it's just sitting there off the side. I do have this one here that I use off and on, but I also use it for a table, just to sit on the table to be able to do some work with it without using the mill or anything else. Anyway, so this is the CNC machine. I mostly use aluminum on it, but I do have steel, and so some of the steel I've worked is for like that reverse plug on the 1911. It's a I forget what grade steel was that, 4140 or something like that, I think it was. But anyway, so I squared it here, cut it to shape, then I brought it to the mill, and then I got it to the lathe, and then I cut it with the lathe, and doing things like cutting round things and making them smooth and blah blah blah. Right now my lathe is giving me a little problem. Now this is a 0765. It's 14 inches. It has a 14-inch bed. Okay, and Little Machine Shop makes a 16-inch bed. Gives you 2 more inches, which means my rear stock has 2 more inches to work. It has 2 more inches to work with back here. So my stock would be back here instead of working up in this area. And so that's my next step also after I'm finished with what I'm doing now. I'm going to put that 16-inch bed in there, and that'll be nice, and it'll run probably a little bit better. Right now I've been working on, excuse me, I'm out of breath for some reason. Anyway, I've been working on this cross slide, and the reason being is because I couldn't get the cross slide here, this part, to be able to freely move the whole gantry smoothly. It was always tough. I mean, really, really tough. Even though I bought a larger wheel for it, so that it would have more than the normal. And let's see if I got that over here. Yeah. So in other words, instead of having this, it used to have this little thing. Anyway, and I found out the reason why I'm having such a problem, this gib. And this gib, as you can see already, if you look at it, the holes are all set on it. So when it's in, so when these gibs, which are straight across, engage this, it bends it, it deforms it. And so this cross slide couldn't move freely right across it. So this is my next step right now, is to get a new gib. I'm going to mark it and drill it. Drill out the little pilot holes so that the gibs fit into those correctly, and it holds it correctly geometrically in the slot. so it's not canting it, because what would happen is this thing would sit in there, and then with the gibs being offset like that, this part would be like that, and the center would be moved, would be ganted up, and so it was kind of twisting. It was one of these twisting motions, you know. It was this way, then it went this way, then it went that way, you know, and you can't have that. Let's see, what else am I doing to this thing? Oh, this is the normal chuck that comes with it. It's a 3-inch chuck. It's a nice one, self-centering. Then I bought this 4-inch. No, this is a 5-inch. I think it's a 5-inch. Oh, wait a minute. I can't remember if it's a 4 or 5. Huh? What in the world am I doing here? Anyway, so I put that on there. And the problem you have when you do things like that, because when this is on there, the distance between the table and the bottom of the lathe and the work area is less with this one than it is with the 3-inch. It's 2 inches difference. So that can make a difference if you are working with a larger piece of metal that requires, so let's say you're working with something a little bit fatter, okay, and you have it in here, it could push these arms down out from here's too much, and it could interfere with the table. Okay, well, that's it there on my lathe. It's a nice lathe. It's very weak. Okay, this is not made to do heavy steel machining. It will fly through aluminum, no problems. That's true. But when you get to steel, you got to do things a little bit slower, a little bit better, and take your time with steel, because steel can overshadow that motor. And that's why I also got this, is because this gives me more inertia. Once it's spinning, the motor doesn't have to work so hard, and my cuts, when I'm cutting in here on the steel, tend to be a lot better, okay? The only problem I'm having now is, like I said, is with the table, and also these here in the back. These are plastic gears. Now it has an RPM gauge, but these plastic gears, even though you take care of them and you keep them clean and everything else and lubricate it, they can wear out. And if these plastic gears wear out, well, then you're not going to be doing any work. Okay, that's the lathe. I have, as you can see, I have a plethora of tools everywhere, hung on the ceiling and everywhere else. I have also an air supply system, so I can blow things around. I have a plethora for my tools for my mill also, and they're in here. Okay, and I have them all set up in their sizes with the what do you call the collets that hold the devices. And my collets go up all the way from to 3/8, 1/8, you know, that kind of stuff. 5/16, 3/4 inch, as you can see, 3/4 inch, 5/8. So I got large collets and small collets to do work with the mill, because I find this mill, it will cut the crap out of aluminum. I mean, it will just shave aluminum like no one's business. Steel's a little bit slower, but it was also cut aluminum very well. I would have bought the 70. No, not the 704. This motor is not strong enough to do a lot of work. But that work I don't usually do all the time. Okay? If I have to do that kind of work where it requires a real strong motor, I just slow everything down. Cut smaller, cut slower. Let's see, what else? That's about all I have. Noise cancellation headphones over there. Of course, the mounting stuff for the mill here. And oh, one other thing, yeah, I do have a Dremel set, and as you can see, it is Fordham-like, you know, so I can have it, and then I have a tool that mounts to this table, so it interjects the Foredom into the mix, so I can use it along with the chuck to do my work on my metal or my material. Okay. Side note, I tried to use this bandsaw. It's got a metal blade on it, but it just cuts really super slow. I mean really super slow, and it doesn't like steel at all, even though the blade is made to cut steel. So I'm trashing it, and I'm going to pick up the bandsaw, one of these bandsaw type ones that it comes down, and it's it's motorized. It's also geared to cut at a certain speed, so it'll cut steel and aluminum with no problems. And once I have that, I don't know what else I'm going to get. I might get a drill press and put it over here, right here at the end, so I can use it to actually just drill holes when I have to drill a quick hole, instead of trying to set this up, because this is a CNC and trying to use it manually, it's a little slower. I do it, but it's a little slower.